Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and welcome to the Joy of Connection. And tonight is the last in season 2. So this is episode 10. But don't worry, we'll be back in April with season 3. So don't stress, it's going to be great. It's going to be good. But, I really thought, how can we end the season with a bang? How can we end the season with something really uplifting and exciting and, I don't know, fabulous. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. And a very good friend of mine, whose name will come up shortly, suggested somebody amazing. And so I'm going to bring to the stage the humble, the passionate, the innovative, and I have to say, easy on the eyes, Mark De-Lisser. Please welcome Mark De-Lisser.
Michelle. How are you? You're right.
I'm good. How are you, Mark?
I'm really well, actually. Really well. Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. This is fabulous.
Pleasure.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Cool.
And so I want to start with my first question that I ask everybody. Where do you live and where are you from?
Oh goodness, I live in South London, and this is where I was born. Not specifically where I am now, but no, I was born in South London, and I've lived here all of my life. So okay. Yeah, I mean, I took a little hiatus and went to study in a strange place in the world, but yeah, I came back and I'm
great. What does that mean?
Well, no, actually, no, it wasn't strange. It was only in Colchester, but yeah, I lived in Colchester for about 7 years. But no, South London is my home, man. So it's the best. It's the best. If anybody wants to say North London is the best, we can fight. We can go outside and fight because South London is the best.
I'm a North London girl, so I'm just, what your mum says, if you haven't gotten something nice to say, don't say anything at all. So.
Fair enough.
And before I go forward, you've got a hi, Mike and Mark in the audience. Zena Goodin Broderick.
Oh my goodness, Zena. Yeah, listen, Zena was like in my choir years ago, man. So much love for her. Oh my goodness, can't tell you how much love I got for her. So yeah, really great that she's. I mean, in fact, she did a podcast recently, actually, this week that she only sent me today. So which she was talking about me. I'm not sure what she was saying, but I hope it was good things. I hope so.
I'm sure it was good things. I'm sure it was. No worries. But yeah, so you're getting a few evenings and hellos. So thank you everyone for reaching out. Giving the love, giving the warmth. Awesome. So Mark, how did we connect? Because this is about the joy of connection. So how did we connect?
How did you and I connect, or how did people connect?
How did you and I connect?
So you and I connected through a member of my Singology choir called Gwen. And Gwen got in touch and said, look, would you do this online podcast kind of interview thing? And I said, yeah, of course, no problem. And she said, yeah, I'm going to put you in touch. And so that was how we were able to connect. And I love the fact that this is a beautiful way of people getting to know each other, that somebody knows what you do, or they're in your space, or they're in your choir, or they're in your circle somewhere. And it's just like, okay, they just lend, their connection ability just kind of comes forward, and they are able to kind of connect to people. So I love that, man. And so it's really great to be here. Really great to be here.
Yeah. And you know what? I have to tell you, part of the reason was Gwen was just sort of more than enthusiastic, just infectious. Every time she would do one of your choir sessions, she's like, oh my God, Michelle, I'm singing. I feel so great. And I was like, oh, okay, sounds good. And then every week, it's amazing. It's great. It's great. And so then she called me and said, look, there's a special happening in January. Why don't you check it out? Which was Blue Monday. Am I correct? Is that what it's called?
Beat the Blues Monday.
Beat the Blues Monday.
Yeah.
So I got my very good friend and life coach, Denise, to come on. And Denise said, no, I can't sing. I can't do it. I said, well, apparently it doesn't matter whether you can sing or not. You just have to get on with it and sing.
Yeah.
And so we got on there, and I got to tell you, we sang, we boogied. My Fitbit, I got 11 minutes of movement on it. Yay. I was working it out. I was singing. Brilliant. And I just didn't understand why I couldn't hear anybody else. I could only hear me. But we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute.
We will.
Great experience. But before we get to that, can you tell me a little bit about what you do for self-love and self-care? Because that's what the Joy of Connection is for us here. We look at, ways to make people feel joyful and happy. What do you do, especially during these times? Have you got anything in particular that you've been doing?
Well, honestly, and people always look at me a bit strange when I say this, but actually working with Singology Choir online, because obviously the restrictions mean that we can't be in the room with each other, but working online is an absolute release for me, and I get so much joy from people's faces. The fact that they are just on mute, singing away, dancing away, and just watching them lose themselves is such a beautiful feeling for me. And so that's my self-care, and I've been saying this from the start of the pandemic with other choral directors will be like, I've only got 3 people and therefore I'm not doing it. And, I've got, I had 100 people and now I've only got 5. It's just like, hang on, who is this for? Do you know what I mean? Why do we do this? And my thing to them, and this is my personal feeling, that when you do something for other people, there is a massive joy in that. And I kid you not, every single Tuesday and Wednesday night, I come here to my studio and I am lifted by just these faces of people just loving singing in their rooms on mute. And I cannot tell you, I float home. Like, oh, this is great. And so truly, that is my self-care, giving to other people, creating an opportunity where they can come in and just have 45 minutes of their time, me time, give their mental health a boost. That absolutely lifts me.
I love that. And that's a great illustration of giving and receiving.
Yeah.
You're giving them a platform to sing and they're receiving all this joy at the same time. And you are as well. So, I mean, win-win situation. That's amazing.
Totally. Love it to bits. I mean, someone was saying just today, actually, it's like, well, how are you going to get back in the room? And I'm just like, man, I cannot wait to get back in the room with these guys, because it is just going to be such a joy to kind of hear live singing, first of all, but obviously, and also just to give them a hug. I mean, will we be able to give people hugs in the short term? I really do hope so, because just want to hug people and just see their faces and just, feel that vibe of people being in the room. So, yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to it.
And so tell us how Singology came to be. I mean, was it an idea? Was it a dream? Was it a thought? Where did it come from?
Well, I trained to be a voice coach in 2001. And on graduating from the Central School of Speech and Drama, I literally dived headfirst into coaching people. I was just like, right, this is my thing. This is what I love. This is what I want to do. So I just had all of these students, but I was teaching them in group sessions, so like 6 people, 5 people, and I'd be doing technique and teaching them songs and stuff. And then I thought, why don't I have all of these people? Because I mean, I had about 60 or 70 people at the time, but all in different groups on different days throughout the month and so on. And I just thought, oh man, I really want these guys to be in the same room. And so choirs being my background, because, I grew up in church and, choirs were all the thing where everybody got involved. I just thought, you know what, let's bring them all together. So I thought, I'm going to start a choir. And I invited them all and they all came. The majority of them. Some of them were just like, no, we're not doing it. But we got loads of people, and then it just grew from there. And that was 18 years ago. wow, is it 18 years? Yeah, about 18 years ago we started, and Singology has just grown. And you know, it's a really beautiful, and you know, people use this word, you know, lightly really, but it very much is a family. Do you know what I mean? Because we all believe that we are there for each other. We all believe that actually we accept whoever comes through the door, you know, regardless of whether you can sing, whether you believe you can sing, or whether you don't believe you can sing, whatever it is, whatever you've done, I don't care. Wherever you've been, I don't care. Just come in and be respectful to everybody else, and that is it. And that is the basis of what Singology is and what it's been for the past 18 years. And it's been a joy and still is a joy.
An amazing ride, it sounds like. Wow.
Yeah,
wow. I love that. I love that. I can just imagine hearing those voices. And so what's the biggest choir you've had live and the biggest choir you've had online? Do you have a sense?
Oh, wow. What's the biggest choir I've had live? Well, we did a thing some years ago called Sing Out Sunday, 2015. I want to say. I'm not really good with dates; they just all merge into one. But I think it's 2015. We did a thing at the Festival Hall in London, and I think we had about 700 people on stage. And it was unbelievable, a really, really beautiful moment actually. And then online, I think we had, for Beat the Blues Monday, I think that was the record of 186 people. I think we had online at one time, and it was again, it's such a joy. I mean, I'm scrolling, I'm trying to play the piano and guide people through this song, and I'm scrolling, going, oh my god, look at all these people! Oh my god, it's bad. You know, I just need 5 hands, kind of thing. But yeah, so it was about 186 people that we had, and that was a real boost for me.
Now, before we show a clip, because I think that to describe it is one thing, but to see it and get a sense of it is another.
Yeah.
But what would you say is the most joyful part of doing it online? Because as you said, it's quite different from doing it, you know. Oh, okay. Are we ready? Not yet. Okay. But, you know, what would you say? I mean, I guess the question is really, I'm trying to get that feeling. How does that feel when you see all those faces? You said 180 something faces. I know you were just like, oh my God, but inside, how did that feel?
Well, my thing is this, look, I create an opportunity, and anybody who wants to step into that, absolutely step into it. And so it always blows my mind that there were 186 people that needed that opportunity to, you know, have some, you know, some self-care, some self-love for themselves. And I always say it to everybody else, you know, all of my other choral director friends, that if there's just me, if it's just me and you on a session, Michelle, it's just me and you. Do you know what I mean? So if it's 1 or if it's 186, I don't care, because that, for me, is my purpose. My purpose is to create an opportunity for people to come in and sing and enjoy themselves, and that is it. So that is it always fills me with the most amount of joy, regardless of if it's 1 or if it's 1,000 people. I don't care. It is joyous beyond belief.
I love that. I love that. So let's check out what your joy looks and sounds like.
Yeah, man.
Can you bring it on, Ade? Ooh, can't hear anything now. Well, that's what it sounds when we're all listening.
Yeah, when everyone's on mute.
When we hear it.
When everyone's on mute, that's what it sounds like.
Ade, we can't hear, so I'm not sure if something's going on. It's misbehaving. Oh, it says mute. It looks like it's on mute, Ade. All right, we'll keep rolling. We'll keep rolling. But yeah, that was just an example of what it sounded like in my living room when I was singing and dancing. I thought, why can't I hear anyone? But the reason is because you don't want everyone hearing each other.
Brilliant.
You know what, guys? If you haven't experienced it, I mean, that was just a little taste. You just have to sign up. You've just got to get onto the website, which is www.singologychoir.com.
Yeah, that's the one.
And sign up for a session. It's a nominal price, and it doesn't really matter what it costs because it's just fabulous, and you will never believe how you feel afterwards. I felt like I was Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, and in my mind I was.
Yeah.
I don't know about what the neighbors thought.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's the joy of singing without knowing that somebody is listening to you. That is the joy, and it's something as a voice coach, and many voice coaches will say the same thing. That what we want is we want to hear, when we're in the room and we're coaching people, we want you to give us what you give yourself when you are in your front room. Do you know what I mean? How do you lose yourself in your front room? That's what we want to see, because when we see that, we can do some work with it. And the problem is when you get in front of somebody, it just feels a bit like a bit restrictive, like, okay, I can't really be as open and as free with my voice as I would do when I'm by myself. But singing online in a choir like Singology, and you're on mute, you are giving all of that because you are in the environment that you are safest in, you know? So that's why for me it's a real joy, because that's what I see coming out of the screen at me. I mean, people are just like, you know what, who cares? I'm just gonna go for it. Like yourself, you know, you were just like, hey, I'm Aretha today. Of course you are. You can be whoever you want to be.
I love that. As I said, I'm not sure what the neighbors were saying, but
listen,
who cares?
don't worry. Don't worry about the neighbors. It's just a little bit of singing. Hey.
Exactly. I love it, Mark. I love it, Mark. I just really love your passion around it. And I think, you know, when we had our brief chat before, I loved, and you reiterated it earlier, you know, it doesn't matter if it's one person singing, 2, 5, as long as you reach them, as well as in this time, people's mental health is so important.
Yes.
And I know how I felt. I can only imagine how you would feel if you'd been in a really dark place that day, or if you're just not feeling that great. You had a rough day at the office and you come in, you put on your sweats and you get into Singology and you're just in a whole other realm. You know, it's such a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and that is the way it works for a lot of people. I mean, me too. You know, some days I'm not up all every day. You know, there are days where it's a bit dark, I'm a bit tired, or I'm a bit down. But I know that I have a duty, and I'll use that word, a duty to create an opportunity and an environment for people to come and, like me, who haven't had a great day, to come and be lifted. Yeah. But the beauty of it is that it comes back to me when I see people being lifted. It lifts me as well. So I'm always like, yeah, you know what? I wasn't great an hour ago, but now I am on top of the world. And so, yeah, get involved, people. If it's not Singology, you know, wherever you want to go, get involved, man, because there is something beautiful, really beautiful about staying connected throughout this period of time. And, you know, a lot of people at the beginning were just like, oh, it's just not the same. It's not going to be the same. Right? It's not going to be the same, but use the tools that you've got in order to keep people connected. And that's what I've been doing. I mean, I've gone literally from the beginning of the first lockdown all the way through. Normally we do 10 weeks and then a break. So Easter break, or, you know, summer break or Christmas break. But I've gone all the way through and I haven't stopped. It's just like, no, I know that people need this, so I have to keep doing it.
I love it. I love it. It's a gift, really. It truly is a gift from God. And we're getting some really great feedback here. So I'm just going to give you some of the comments here. That everything looks amazing. Thanks, Michelle and Mark. And Colin is saying, this looks and sounds great from my TV. Great concept to have the Singology support. I love to sing, but need some tuning. Okay, a lot of tuning. Thank you, Colin.
Listen, Colin, man, what this is the thing, you know, who told you you were out of tune? That's the question you got to ask, right? Who told you were out of tune? Yeah, and don't listen to them, because your voice is your voice. Use it, and however it comes out, it's your thing. It's your release. You know, listen, man, I talk about babies all the time. I have 3 of my own. They're big now, but well, they're not that big, but you know what I mean. But I remember when they were born, I was so fascinated by their voices, so fascinated, because the first thing that we all come out of the womb and do is cry. We do not say, my goodness, it's chilly out here. We don't do that, right? We don't learn language until maybe, you know, a year in. It is all about creating a cry or a little laughter, or just singing a little melody, or whatever it might be. That's the first thing that we do. So the basis of singing is that cry, and is all of those little melodies that we create. And so enjoy that. That's the release. And I say this all the time, that when the way babies communicate is if their nappy needs changed, they're going to cry. Do you know what I mean? That is their level. That is their way of communication. And so all of that is a release. So I'm just going to cry to just be loud, or I'm just going to cry because I feel I'm hungry or whatever. That is the release. And so keep doing that. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't sing, or that your tuning is bad. Don't let anybody tell you that. I mean, fine, if you want to go and sing professionally, then you're going to have to do a little bit of training, of course. But singing around in your house, or in your car, or in the bathroom, do it, and keep doing it, and do it even more. And if you do want to go a little further, grab a great voice coach, and get working on your technique. Simple as that.
Love that. And Gwen's online now, and she's saying it's a lot of fun singing in a community, both online and physically with others.
Yeah.
And Mark energizes you to want to sing and have fun.
Yeah,
and that's really true, because I think we were singing Staying Alive, and you were just doing all the moves and really getting involved. And I thought, how great. I mean, even if you were feeling like, I kind of want to sing and dance, then you're moving. So it's sort of infectious, isn't it? Everybody just gets involved. So it's so beautiful.
Because there's no inhibitions, is there? It's just like you're in a room by yourself and you're singing, and it's just like, well, I'm just going to have a dance as well, because this is cool. And then everybody's doing it, and it's just infectious. And therefore everybody feels comfortable, So yeah, man, get involved, people. Get involved.
I love that. So post lockdown, are you going to do a hybrid? Are you still going to do it online, or?
Yeah. So my plan is to do a hybrid choir, because I think, and I don't know this for sure, but I think there will be some people who will find that singing online is good for them. It's good for their mental health, and it means that they don't have to necessarily travel. Right now, that's just human beings. That's human behavior. That's people just going to be like, actually, no, I can do it at home. So I'm going to do a hybrid choir, in that all who want to come back into the room, because I'll be in the room, right? If you want to come back in the room, be back in the room with me. But then I'm going to set up a few cameras, and obviously Zoom, and so people can zoom in and sing along wherever they are. But this time they won't just see me; they'll see everybody else within the room. So yes, it's a bit of a hybrid choir. It's a bit of an experiment that we're going to try when we get back, and then we see how it goes. Try it.
Hey Mark, we just got a great shout out here. Joan says, I'd love to be part of your choir, Mark. Distance is a barrier, because she's all the way in Barbados.
Listen. Just join up online, right? Because Wednesday night we have people from the States, from Australia, from New Zealand, who was Canada last night. I mean, there were so many people from all over the world. I mean, yes, it would be great to have you in the room with us all, but listen, if you can't, then virtually. Come on in, man. I mean, I'd love for you to join from Barbados. Love Barbados, never been. So yeah, invite me.
Invite me. There you go, Joan. And Monica's online here from Denmark, and she said, "You're so right about looking at it as release. In yoga, we do lots like lion's. Like lion's breath.
Yeah,
might seem silly to others, but yes, let it out."
Yeah, totally. I mean, one of the things that we're talking about in the voice world at the moment is, and a really good friend of mine, Dane Chalfin, talks lots about primal sound, and how that like I said, when we're babies, when we come out, it's like, that's primal. That's like, rah! No one's taught you that. That is what comes out of you. And so we need to maintain that idea of just allowing whatever sound is going to come out of us to let it come out. That is the most important thing, because it is such a release. All right. So you've got to keep doing it. Love that. I
love that natural primal sort of instinct of just getting it out there. And also I just find that when, most people, when they're stressed, right, they might scream and they might be angry, and that's in the negative. But if you turn that around and you start singing, you're still getting that same release, but 100%. In a positive way. So
100%. And there was a question that just came up about if everybody's on mute, how do we hear them? Well, every so often, probably once every 10 weeks, I do a little project where I say, okay, all of the songs that we've just learned, guys, I want you now to record yourself. So we do a very simple thing. I send them all the parts so they can hear them. They put some headphones in and you record it into your phone. Yeah, you just sing your part all the way through to the end. Send it back to me. We mix it, and then we put a performance together so that everybody can then hear what they all sound like. And the last one we did, which was Beautiful Day, actually, which you just got a snippet of. I think we had about 350 people on that. So it's great.
Wow. And was that difficult to marry it up, all the different voices with the music?
No, not really, because what they have to use is they have to hear me singing in their ear. So they put some headphones on, and then that's me singing the whole part from start to finish with the music, and obviously me singing their exact part. And then they just copy that. They just sing along with me, and it's all in time. And then they get to the end, and that's it. And they send it off to me, and we mix it.
Love it. Love it. Oh, so exciting. I think you've got some followers here already. Lots of people are saying, I can't wait to try. I've got to join
Come
it.
on, man. Come on, man. It's good. It's really good fun. And look, there's no prerequisite. And I say that all the time, and that's in the room as well as online. There's no prerequisite. Whoever you are, just come and be part of it, because you will find so much joy in doing it. All right, because everybody should sing. Everyone, literally everyone. Every single person in the world should sing. And I know lots of people do, but don't. And like I said earlier, don't let anybody tell you can't. Please don't, because it's not true.
And have you had anyone who's joined and then said to you, Mark, I think, that inner Whitney Houston or that inner Luther Vandross is here. Can you help me develop it? Have you had a few people decide to go not professional, maybe, or semi-professional, but or take it on a much more serious level, perhaps?
Yeah. All the time, people come in and say, actually, can I have some extra lessons, some private lessons? Of course, and you can go down that line, totally fine. But I leave it completely up to the people. And there are people who I'm like, you come into choir and actually you've got a really strong voice. So it's really, it's really well developed. Where have you come from? What have you done? And then my thing is always to push people. Now, what you'll realize in the live and when we're in the room is I always I do this thing, which is called the pressure cooker.
Oh.
And the pressure cooker is very simple. I take one soprano, one alto, one tenor, and I put them up in front of everyone. And I say, okay, go. Sing your part for this section. And it's nerve-wracking, and people are just like, ah. But what I love, and because I don't force anyone, it's just like, up to you. If you want to get up, you get up. If you don't, what I love is over time, the people who were just like, you could see it on their faces that I would never get up and do that. You see them kind of edging closer off the edge of their seats, like, okay, I'm going to go. And they go. And it's that moment where I just go, this is brilliant. And so for me, it's always about encouraging people to do the things outside of themselves. The things that you don't think you can do, you absolutely must try it. And so they do. So, we get those people who want to be Luther and Mariah and stuff. And we just invite them to do extra lessons and, get a coach like me and do some work.
I love that. So, guys, anybody in Shania Twain's, anybody out there that wants to be, something that they thought they could never be.
Yeah.
Here's your opportunity. Here's your opportunity. I love it. So speaking of opportunities, I have to ask you the question. Okay. So we've had a lot of stuff in the news recently about Harry and Meghan. And we're not going to go there. Not really interested in the story.
Sure.
The story I am interested in is how you came to arrange the choir for their wedding. And please let me know if I've got that incorrect, but my research says that.
So I arranged the song "Stand By Me" for the wedding, and that very much came from Karen Gibson, who I've known for many years, and I sang in Kingdom Choir years and years ago, 20 odd years ago, geez. And she just called and said, "Look, man, can you arrange a song for me?" She didn't tell me, who it was for or anything like that. And I was like, "Yeah, cool. What's the song?" She said, "It's Stand By Me." I said, "Yeah, all right, fine." And so I went through the motions of arranging it. And it's well documented in the press that it was 13. It was actually 13 different versions that we did. And it was a real journey for me, actually, because it taught me lots about myself. And it taught me lots about my creativity and putting those two things together. So about me and about my creativity, and also about people. And those are really some really important things. So that was how it came to be. And, the rest, as they say, is history. It was, it was shown to the world and everybody loved it. But I will say this, that in creating, okay, let me give you this. I was taught, or throughout this period, was quite tough for me. It was tough in that as a creative, you want to be able to put out to the world something that you believe is unbelievable and amazing. in every single way. And obviously, as a musician, you want to be able to, you want your muso friends to be like, oh man, it was amazing, man. What you did there was amazing. Blah. You want that. And I had a real, now looking back, it was a brilliant journey into understanding that actually you've got to give the client what they want, right? And truly, that is absolutely what happened. And the beauty of this is, a year before I was asked to do this arrangement, I remember sitting here in my studio, and I was listening to a song called "Total Praise" by Richard Smallwood, which is one of my all-time favorite gospel songs ever. And I remember just thinking, this song is so amazing, man. How did he do it? And I remember saying to God, I said, listen, I really want you to give me the opportunity to arrange something that the world hears, right? And so a year later, Karen calls, and I'm not thinking about, this is the song, but I go through all of these 13 versions. And one thing that I totally believe was that was the absolute right version for them and for the day. Yeah, the absolute right one. And so the journey for me was one of absolute self-discovery, that actually get out of the way and don't try and make things complex and musically amazing and off the chart. If you just need to communicate what they were feeling, which is that love and that desire to stand by each other. Once you create that, that is enough. And truly, I feel 100% blessed to say that actually that was what they got. And that was the just one of those great examples of a life-changing journey. And it truly was.
That's amazing. And, Zena asked a great question. How did you know, after the 13 versions, how did you know that was the final one was the one? How did you know? How did you decide that?
I didn't. And that's another learning point. I got out of the way. I just got out of the way of myself. It's just like, okay, cool. This is it. I've gone. It's done. There you go. Let's go sing it. And even when we started singing the song, I was like, okay, is this actually happening? Is it happening? And then when we finished, what people don't realize is that in that chapel, there's no applause. So you can't applaud.
Right.
So when we finished, everybody just turned back to face the front, because we were singing from the back. Everybody just turned to face the front. There was no applause. So in my head, I was just like, right, okay, great. And on to the next job. You know what I mean? Because it was, for me, that was it. You've sung the song and it's done. So no, I didn't know that was the one. I just got out of the way and just said, look, whatever is going to be is going to be. I'm leaving it totally in God's hands, And it wasn't until, I had to run from that wedding onto a plane to go and do a workshop in Ireland for the following day. And we didn't have our phones with us. So it wasn't until I got to the airport and I turned my phone on that it was blowing up. And I was just like, what just happened? So yeah, so to answer the question, I didn't know. I left it completely in God's hands. And I'm telling you now, all of that journey was all God. All God. Don't let anybody, I'm not going to say it was me. I got out of the way. I tried to do something complex at the start. Wasn't right. All the other versions weren't right. But that one, like I said, when I just said, like, all right, God, you take it. That was the one.
So did you actually present 13 versions, or this was like the 13th? Okay, so you presented all of them and they went with that particular version, and you were sort of like, oh, yeah, really?
The 13th version was we kind of made some changes on the coach on the way to the wedding.
Wow.
So that was version 13. Karen will say 12, but that was definitely 13 version, because we made some fairly significant changes on the bus on the way there.
And so when did you find out that it was for the royal wedding? Was it a few days before? Was it a few months before?
It was probably about 6 weeks before. So I'd probably been working on it for about 3 weeks, I think, on some various versions and stuff. And then then I was like, okay, cool. I know what's going on, because Karen just said to me, Google the date. I was just like, okay, fine, I'll do that. So, and then I was just like, all right, okay, cool. So.
And so on the day, were you nervous? Was the choir nervous, or were you just sort of in your mode, standing your power, singing your song?
Yeah, there was a lot of nerves on the day actually, because you just don't know what to expect. And I guess from my point of view as an arranger, I just didn't know how it was going to be received, because it was far away from what I had originally created. Do you know what I mean? And so it was something very, very simple, but it taught me a massive lesson, man. That and you say this all the time, that simple, keep it simple, sweet, as they say. And you say that all the time, you don't realize that actually that was for all of the people that watched it and got it. Do you know what I mean? They got it. It wasn't musically complex. It was very simple, but it spoke to the heart of so many people around the world. So yeah, there was nerves on the day from the singers, from me as well. Again, but when we got there and in the moment, I mean, I remember standing for a while listening to the minister preach, but it just felt like church, and that actually chilled us all out. We were just like, oh, okay, cool.
This
is church. Let's go do this. So yeah, so it was cool. But yeah, a beautiful experience that absolutely changed my life.
Wow. And when you say change your life, like what about it changed it? Was just like you said, the whole process that you went through? Was it one specific part? Okay.
The process, the journey, you as an arranger, you kind of go through this up and down really of, am I any good? Am I good at this? Wow. Is this any good? I've been doing this for a number of years now, but I can't seem to get this right. Why can I not get this right? And what it taught me was that the people who you're writing for, they know what they want. Okay. Yeah. And so therefore you write for them. And also that simple is quite often enough. So, and I'm all about people, man. And I just want, and I know, I mean, and I guess what it's fueled is in this period of life where we're all online and stuff. All of the arrangements that I do every week, because I do an arrangement every week for Singology, they're all very simple, and it's like, and it makes me laugh because everybody comes into a session and they're just having a great time, because actually they don't have to really think about incredible harmony or the bridge section that does this and there's contrapuntal movement and blah. They don't need to think about anything musical. They just need to sing song. Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever it was, I think it was Staying Alive with You, right? They just
it was.
Sing the song and enjoy it, and that is what reaches people. And so yes, it taught me so many lessons.
So, when you talk about it, you can feel the passion in you. You're clearly a passionate man. And so how do you deal when you're feeling low? How do you deal with those days? How do you get through those days?
Goodness, that's a good question. There are times when I'll just sit still, and do nothing. And oftentimes just you in your thoughts, thinking about where you're going, what you've done, things you want to achieve. There are definitely those moments. But some of the things that I find lift me, other than choir, of course, is my kids. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of going, what are you guys doing? Do you know what I mean? I do this funny thing at home. And it absolutely lifts me every time. I take them on, I kind of do impressions of them. I only started doing it recently. I go in and start impersonating all of them, and they laugh, man. And it's just like that absolutely lifts me. But if it is for me, then I sit in my own thoughts, maybe read something, but generally I'm sitting around. You know what I mean? And maybe listening to some music. I mean, you might find this weird to know that if I've had a day of music, I don't want to go home and be listening to stuff. That sounds weird, doesn't it? As a musician? But I just hear songs and music all day long. I just go home and hear the sound of my children just laughing and fighting with each other. I love that. Not when they're fighting. I mean,
not literally when they're fighting.
Not literally when they're fighting. But yeah.
So I have to ask you, one of the things that struck me when we first connected was you told me a bit about your relationship with God. And I just love the story you told me about Colchester. And if you wouldn't mind sharing that, I would love you to. And really because, and I just want to mention this, that, most people know that I'm quite spiritual, but no one thinks of me as a religious person. And I called Gwen the other day and I said, Gwen, the spiritual center that I go to, and we look at New Thought. The pastor said we should do a prayer challenge a 90-day prayer challenge, and it has to be between 1 to 15 minutes, no more, no longer. You say your part, I say my part, then I repeat back what you said, and then you repeat back what I said.
Yeah.
And I said, do you want to do this with me? Because, I didn't really know who else I would call, actually. And so Gwen was like, yeah, sounds great. I'd love to do it. So we started doing it, and it's been amazing. The shifts, I can't even tell you. So, and there was one of the days where Gwen prayed in a way that I wouldn't have prayed. And I thought, but that's kind of cool. I like that. So when I was having the conversation with you and you told me the way that you prayed in this particular day, I love that story. So if you wouldn't mind sharing it, I think it's a great story for everyone to hear.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a longer conversation for another day, but I went through what I call my failure years, where it was a number of years where I was failing at everything. Education wasn't working, and blah blah blah, and all the rest of that. But I was in a bit of a situation where I was toying with this idea of, I was living in Colchester, as I said, for a while. And I was on a course there, and I didn't know whether or not I was going to go back to Colchester or if I was going to stay in London. And I remember driving elderly folk, we can call them that, right? From home to hospital. Okay. And
elderly, not the other word, right?
Elderly. So I was driving them from home to hospital, and I remember being in the car by myself at one point, and being so frustrated about what I needed to do. I just couldn't make up my mind. Do I go back to Colchester? Do I stay in London? And I remember saying to God, the windows were down, it was a hot day. And I remember turning off the radio and I said, look, right? Because this is my way of talking to God. And when I tell people this, they're just like, you can't talk to God like that. No, don't tell me how my relationship with God needs to be, because this is my relationship, right? So I was like, listen, I need you, and people look at me like, what is wrong with this guy? I need you to tell me whether I stay in London or if I go back to Colchester, and I need you to tell me by 10 o'clock tonight. And that was it. I turned back up the radio and continued driving. And I left it. Later on that evening, I went home. I was staying with my parents at the time, and the home phone started ringing. I had a mobile, but the home phone started ringing. And my mum answered it, and she said, "Mark, it's for you." I said, "Oh, okay, cool." So I picked up the phone, and it's a good friend of mine who I had been in Colchester with the year before. And he said, "This is a real strange one, Mark." I said, "Go on, what's up? You all right?" He was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm all right." He goes, "I was just praying, and I've just got this real strange message for you." And I was just like, "Go on, tell me." He goes, "God just simply told me to tell you to go back to Colchester." And I was like, "What are you, what?" And so now tears are streaming down my eyes. I'm on my knees and I'm just like, "Oh my goodness, God, you are amazing." That is my answer. And then where the phone was, it sits underneath a massive clock. And I looked up at this clock, and the clock was at 10 to 10. And I kid you not, I was just like, oh my days, and now tears are streaming. And I'm like, wow, God, you are amazing. And I mean, I could tell you so many stories where it is that level of anger that I've given to God, because that's our relationship, and he's absolutely turned it and absolutely answered my prayer. I mean, I'm married to the woman that I'm married to now because I said to God, "Send me my queen, send her now." Trust me, that's a whole nother story, right? Trust me, that is why I'm married to the woman I'm married to. So many things. And I say all of that to say this, Michelle, that your relationship with God is your relationship. Don't let anybody dictate how you relate to the God that you serve. Do you know what I mean? Do not, because you know what it feels like. You know who you are. You know what you go through, your trials, your struggles, your situations. You know, so therefore you deal with your God in the way that you know. And I think that's the most important thing. So yeah, man. And going back to Colchester, changed my life. Changed my life. So
love it. You're just like, okay, I'm not going to ignore you anymore, but we're definitely going to have this dialogue more often.
We will, for sure.
And Zena said, what a beautiful, moving story about Colchester.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, saying we love this story, Mark. I mean, it really is. When he told me, I was just like, we got to talk about it.
Yeah, man. There's so much. There's so many of them, and I'm grateful, man, that God deals with me in the way that He does. I'm so grateful, really grateful.
So we're coming to the time where I love to talk about one of my favorite songs. It's Stevie Wonder's "Love Is in Need of Love Today."
Yeah, man. Great song. Yeah. We do that with choir, actually.
Do you?
Yeah,
Oh,
we do. Yeah, we do.
oh.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Well, before I ask you the question and before you give me the answer, can you give us a little bar, sing
Oh,
a few beats? Does everybody want to hear a few beats? Everybody want to hear some singing or
oh
some
my goodness! On the spot.
hanging,
On the
as they
spot. On the
say in the
spot.
States?
Can you hear my piano?
No,
You can't hear my piano.
no.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
We have Jennifer here saying she needs to start praying like you. Inspiring story.
All right, if you can't hear my piano, it's fine. Anyway, so love's in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hate's going round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far.
Woo, thank you. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Thank you, Mark. You've made
Pleasure.
my day, made my day, made my month. So, when you sing that, when you hear that song, what does that mean to you? What do you think the world's in need of right now?
We're in need of understanding. We're in need of, I guess, love is the big thing, but within that there comes understanding. There comes just sacrifice, really. I think just being able to make sure that people are okay. We need to focus on people and also place ourselves in those positions where, people are being hurt. They're in difficult relationships. It's like almost the thing that we need to do is see people where they're at and show them love, and that's what we need to do. That's what that song is all about for me.
I love it. I love it. And, this month has been International Women's Month. And so how do you relate to that? What does that make you feel about it being focused on women this month? And we also had Mother's Day. I mean, it's a month of women this month.
I think you know what? I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. Let's celebrate everybody, regardless of where you're from or who you are. Let's celebrate them. And I lost my mother a few years ago, but I celebrate my mum, my sisters, my wife, my daughter, my aunts, my cousins. I celebrate them all. Everybody should be celebrated at some point in our lives, and every day we should be celebrating people. And so I think it's brilliant. Let it happen much more often. Yeah, let all of these people around the world who, there's a lot of anger, I think, in this world right now, and people are saying lots of bad things about people generally. And I just think that if we just stopped for a moment and just thought, hang on, we're here and we are people in this world. So really, let's just continue to show love and celebrate each other. And I don't think that's done enough in this world. So it should happen more often.
I love your words of wisdom. Thank you. And I would be remiss on a personal level, because I didn't realize you'd lost your mother. I lost my mother 3 years ago this week, and last week actually. And, she passed away from dementia and Alzheimer's. And I know you're doing this wonderful work with the dementia choir. And, it just warms my heart to see that somebody really understands that, because one of the things that was beautiful was that my partner, who's Cuban, would sing to her and in Spanish and try to dance with her, and she would love it. She would just come alive. It was one of the few things, we played Jamaican music, reggae music, whatever, and any kind of music that she loved. The memory was sort of, you could just see her ticking over and thinking. And so I'd love to know, what made you get involved in that? How did you decide that, or did it come to you?
It very much came to me. The director of our dementia choir just called me. He'd known me from doing some other bits and pieces, and he just said, "Listen, would you get involved in this?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't really know anything about people living with dementia." And he said, "No, don't worry. I just want you to just treat them like you do with every other person that you work with." And I said, "All right, cool." So I went in and I started doing it, and it was a beautiful journey, really, because it taught me lots about dementia and people living with dementia. And there was some beautiful moments in filming there. that absolutely shaped the way that I see people living with dementia now. And one of them was when a guy called John S., he's sadly passed away just recently, would come to me every session, or the first session he came in and he said, "Oh, Mark, I've got a song." And I said, "Oh, okay." I was sitting at the piano, and he said, "I said, go. Do you know it? Can you sing it?" He said, "Yeah." And he'd go, "No matter what they tell us," and he'd sing this whole song all the way through, and I'd play it. I'd be like, "Oh, brilliant, amazing, so good." Then the following week, he'd come back and go, "Mark, I've got a song." I'd be like, "Oh, what's the song?" "No matter what they tell." And in that moment, the second time round, there's a part of my brain that went, and then it stopped. And I thought, nope, give him that moment. And I tell you now, Michelle, every week, same song. And for me, same reaction. Okay, same reaction, because that is their moment. Never tell them anything different. They feel in that moment that they want to sing a song, and they've sung to you a million times. Give them that moment, and it absolutely changed the way that I see people living with dementia. Soon after that, my aunt was diagnosed with dementia, and I remember her sitting with us around a table at my parents' house. And she wasn't that quiet, but we recognized that she'd become even quieter. And I remember asking her, why have you become quieter now? And she said, because I don't know what I'm about to say, and I don't want to repeat myself.
Oh, she was able to communicate that. Wow.
Yeah. And it just made me go, yes. In all of those situations that you find yourself with people living with dementia, allow them to be. If they're repeating themselves, hey, sit and listen again. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Sit and listen again. And so that's what it taught me. That's my experience, and that may be different for other people, but that's what it taught me. Just allow those people just to have their moment. Music is the key, I think, that unlocks all of those memories in them. On the show, just singing old time songs, war songs. These guys are just come alive, man. It's just like, this is their era. Because, like I said about babies before, we get into this world and we just hear all of this music around us, and we start by crying and singing and that kind of thing. So all of that childhood, we are just bombarded with all these songs. And so when people get older, or when they are diagnosed with dementia, they go back. Absolutely. They lose. There's one of the guys now who now can't. He's one of the younger ones actually in the show. He now can't distinguish the coins and the notes, the money. But he still can sing "Build Me Up, Buttercup" like no one else that I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, memories there.
Bless you, Michelle. Bless you.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation. And is there anything that you'd like to impart with the audience as we wrap this up? I mean, it's been almost an hour, and it feels like it's been 10 minutes. It's been deep, it's been personal, it's been great.
Oh, bless you. I think it's important to the love is at the center of everything that you do, right? People are at the center of everything that you do, but understand that people are different. They're not going to be like you. Okay, you're not going to always like people, but the truth of the matter is, if your motive is to love, and your intention is to love, then you will just live a far more fulfilled life. Because if your motive isn't, then you're going to be disappointed in some way. So love people, love them unconditionally, just love them, and continue to spread that love. All right.
Well, Mark, thank you for the love. I'm feeling it. I'm showing it.
Bless you, Michelle. Bless you
so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and you're just a brilliant human being.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, Michelle. Thank you for having me. It's been a real joy. All right, a real joy. All right. Cool.
Thank you. And I'll be seeing you on Singology. I'll be out there carrying on like before, and you'll be like, there she is again. She's back.
No. Do it, please. I love that. Love to see your face. All right.
I would love to. Thank you ever so much for your time. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. All right. You take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Bye. And so thank you everyone for joining. As you can see, I'm in tears. Definitely got to that heartstring of dementia, but it was my reality for 2 years. So thank you everyone for joining us. Be joyful, be connected, and shine your light. I'll see you in April. Thank you, everyone. Good night.